Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us at 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning for our very first filmmaker panel for UCLA X Film Fest 2022. And I'm just really excited to introduce these four phenomenal filmmakers who are with us today. Should be a lot of fun hearing their insights, getting to know them. My name is Lizel Davis. I'm the event coordinator at UCLA Extension, and I'm thrilled to be moderating today and asking these questions and learning all about all of you. We have an exciting lineup of filmmakers whose work is being showcased in this year's film festival. We hope you've had an opportunity to watch all of the films on the festival website. If you haven't yet, we'll put a link to the festival website in the chat. Couple links are going in hopefully soon, and then our conversation will take place over the next hour. Please put any questions you may have in the chat box throughout the discussion, and we'll address those questions toward the end of the panel. And also, I want to note we are recording, so anyone who doesn't want to be seen on a recording that will be posted on the Film Festival website, you can just sort of hide yourself, put questions in the chat, and you'll be hidden. So now I'd like to introduce our panelists. Jenny Taher from the film Those People. She's the writer, director, producer. Hong Tao Yang, the producer of Fight for the Future. Lionel Che from Imelda and Louise. And Jerui from Apart. And she's a producer of Apart. So I'm really excited. I'm just going to start off in a very simple way by asking all of you to introduce yourself, your role in your film, and the basic plot or the log line of your film, something in a relaxed way, like we're chatting in a bar, sort of log line. And let's start with Jenny.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jenny. I'm actually the writer, the producer, and I'm in Those People. It was directed by a friend of mine, Tasha Gordon-Sullivan. I want to make sure that I note that. Okay, vis-a-vis the log line, it's pretty simple. It's a story about a couple. The woman finds out unexpectedly she's pregnant, and what ensues is kind of discussion about the ethics of bringing a child into the world, increasingly in the throes of decay or dystopia, or so she thinks via her doom scrolling. So it's sort of an exploration of social media and how it affects some of our most intimate and kind of landmark decisions.
Great, thank you. Thank you. All right, wonderful. Lionel, I'd love to hear you describe your film.
Sure. My name is Lionel Che. I'm the writer, director, and I also produce the short film. And so the short film is about these young twins, Imelda and Luis, who only have each other to fulfill their dreams. She wants to be a nun and he wants to be a girl, and neither of which seems possible. So that's like the love line. Thank you.
Excellent. And then Jarui, I'd love to hear you talk about your film.
Hi, I'm Jarui. I'm the producer for Apart. Apart is a movie about a son asks his father suffers for a stroke. A sensitive son become his catheter, and the tension of their relationship came to surface.
And you produced the film.
Yeah.
And I will say, as a UCLA Extension student, Jarui submitted, I'd say, 10 films to our festival this year. We could only consider one, so we had to limit her, but it was very impressive, the number of films she produces. So accomplished producer, contact her if you want film produced. Okay, excellent. And then moving on, I'm also excited to have Hong Tao Yang introduce himself and speak briefly about Fight for the Future.
Hi, so this is Hong Tao Yang. He's a producer of the Fight for Future. I'm his assistant seraph. So it's a story about in the alien world, two people have different intentions, exploring the way back to the Earth. It's about like a very fight game story. Yeah.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, so thank you all, everyone, for sharing. And I guess I just want to start by asking each of you what that moment was when you knew you wanted to be in the arts or an artist or a producer. What was that spark? And what did you do to take the first steps, or what steps did you take to enter into the business of film? You look like you have thoughts, Leonel, so I'll start with you.
So I guess it was a long time ago. I think since I was, I don't know what age, but it was very, very little. That I loved to watch films, and I started, since I was a very little child. I would, when I was playing with my toys, I would make up stories and very crazy stories sometimes. And so that's when I started to see that I had something that I wanted to tell stories, to be a storyteller. And then I don't know, I started doing short films by myself, and then I also had some friends, and then I move on. I move forward, and now I'm trying to make like more produced stories, in filmmaking. So yeah.
Absolutely. And Imelda and Louise is certainly produced high quality, really beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course. Jarui, would you like to speak about when you decided to start producing?
Oh, I started producing in 2020, and my bachelor is film composition. And I started producing from 2020, and I already started with student thesis. So I did around like 35 to 40 student shorts within 2 years. And I only took one class in UCLA Extension while I'm in my bachelor degree, which is storytelling. I think that class helped me a lot, especially writing the coverage for as a studio executive assistant. That's helped a lot. And after I graduated this year from my bachelor, I start working for Lifetime TV movies, and then moved to like doing more production side. So like a production manager, line producer, and now I'm the vice president of Vast Entertainment, which is a production company for ANE Studio.
Excellent, congratulations. So when did you decide though to start producing? What made you say, okay, instead of anything, I really want to produce films?
Oh, so because I'm composer, so at the beginning, I focused on the post-production, and then I realized because some of the clients, director, like producer, they trying to fix things during the post-production, but those are a lot of mistakes they made for the production, even though pre-production. So this not our fault that we cannot fix that. So I think in order to make a better movie, you should like pay attention for every step, especially pre-production, production. You cannot like rely on, you can fix all the problem in post-production. So that's why I start moving to the production, to pre-production. So with my knowledge for post-production, so I can guide them to avoid some mistake that they might be made.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Hung Tao, what first inspired you to work in film?
Sorry, could you say that again? Sorry.
Of course. What first inspired you to work in film? When was that first moment you decided you wanted to be a producer?
就是您是怎么想成为这个 producer， 就是制片人的？
其实在我差不多是在08年开始进入到影视制作这个行业，那个时候主要是作为制片制作人，然后来做制片的工作，然后后来就会根据电影制作的工作，然后逐渐发现想做一些自己想要做的一些电影项目，然后包括在2020年，然后到了美国，然后到 UCLA 学习这个课程， 然后回来以后就想做一个这样的根据 LED 拍摄技术，然后想做这个项目。
Okay, so when he was in 2008, he became a producer in this filmmaking field, and when he stayed longer, and he want he touched more and more projects, and he really want to be a producer, and in the 2020. And when he came to America and joined into the UCLA extension, he learned more about how to making films and also many procedures in the film production. And then he really want to be a real producer and really want to make a film. And then in the same time, he touched the virtual production and this stuff. And he really want to make a film with using the virtual production. And then he came back to China and make a film with a new technology like virtual production like this. Yes.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. And Jenny, what about you? What was that first spark?
I've really come out of a theater background, so I've been a theater actor for about 20 years, dear God. So that's really my background. And I was doing a short play and somehow got like a feather in my cap about it. I was like, oh, let's do this as a short film. It was very sort of, I don't even know, I wasn't even that like in the mix about short films, but I just for some reason had a real yen to do it. And it was one discrete location. It's called I Am a Big Ball of Sadness and I Want to Throw Myself Off Your Roof. It was a playwright who'd done it. And I borrowed a friend's rooftop in New York City. I had a really good, really great actor, a friend of mine who was in it with me. And I'd done a play with a guy who was like a really good cinematographer and editor and composer. Like I really got incredibly lucky. I made the film for $500, which just seems completely, it seems like I'm talking about the 1950s. And this was like 8 years ago. And we did it, we shot it in like an afternoon, and it's actually a beautiful little, I'm still really proud of it. And I started submitting it to festivals and it got into a couple and it actually had a festival win. And it was very much fool's luck the first time out. I was like, oh my God, this is easy. Like, what? God, why isn't everybody making short films all the time? Like I'm gonna be Cecil B. DeMille tomorrow. Not realizing that I got very lucky with that first film. And I'd never written anything actually, but I was extremely opinionated, which you guys will all come to find out in the process of this panel. And I think I was seeing more and more content online that like actors I knew were writing, and not to disrespect anybody, but I was really struck by kind of the lack of point of view beyond just showcasing themselves, you know, which acting is really hard and I understand that impulse. And I was like, oh, I think I could write something with a little more of an overarching kind of opinion about the world. So so that's kind of what I started doing. And this is the first thing that I wrote and produced that's mine and not like another playwright or another writer friend of mine. So this is very long-winded, sorry people.
Oh yeah.
But that was basically, yeah, a mixture of like moxie and brassy opinion, you know, being an opinionated person, which I think on some level is part of storytelling, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that really plays in, you answered both questions, and that really plays into my next question, which was what inspired you to tell your story or to tell this specific story? And I know that Jia Rui and Hong Tao are both producers. So, and I know for Hong Tao, you were inspired by by both the story, it sounds like, and the technique of telling the story. And I want to hear from both of you as well, but I know as a writer, Lionel, I'd love to hear about your inspiration for your film too, and what the writing of your film.
Yeah, sure. So my inspiration was basically like my female and male part of myself, because those are two female and a male character, Imelda and Luis. And so I started from there. I wanted to tell a story about my female and male side. And so I started, the story just came into me, and so I started writing. And so, but the main thing that I wanted to explore was basically that, like, since I consider myself a non-binary person, so I wanted to have like these two main characters, which I consider them or conceptualize them as just one character, but you know, in the story they are like two separate characters. So yeah.
That's really beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. And Jae-rui and Hong Tao, what attracted you to the story of your film? Why were you attracted to producing this story?
Okay, so Hong Tao, when he was in American, he first time to touch the this technology like a virtual production, and when he come back to China, he watched the Mandalorian and be very touched about it. The whole thing very touched. It's shocked. So he really want to make a movie like this in China, and he found only few filmmakers to make movie with the virtual production. So he decided to make his own the movie with a virtual production. So he started to work and make this. Yes.
Great. All right, thank you. Jae-rui.
The reason why I like this story, because I think storytelling is all based on your life and from your life. And this story actually is based on the director's true experience. Her father and her brother has some problem. So I think I like this story because the story is all focused the small thing and change the small things in life become the picture on the screen.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, so I think some of what Hong Tao was saying leads into our next question, which is, tell me about some of the challenges you ran into while you were making this specific film, and I'm curious about how you overcame them. It sounds like Hong Tao had trouble finding people who also worked in virtual production, so we can definitely speak to that. But I'd like to know for all of you, as Ginny was suggesting, she had a very lucky first film, but filmmaking is challenging, and I'm sure all of you had roadblocks along the way for this film as well. So I'd love to hear about that.
其实在制作过程中，包括在策划打算用这个技术进行拍摄的时候，都遇到了很大的困难。因为我们之前一直跟导演就有拍一个科幻电影长片的一个计划。为了使用这个技术，我们打算先做预告片的方式，然后来用这个 LED 虚拟拍摄的方法来制作。但是从策划和技术实现的时候，遇到了很庞大的困难，就是在技术上，因为这项技术实际上并不是运用的非常的广泛。曼达洛人其实也是使用了一小部分，包括它外部盔甲的一些反光。但是我们使用的时候，其实会发现，除了这个技术以外，还会有很大的需要运算，包括上屏很多的技术衔接，而且我们要做到就是要做一个电影级别的预告片。
So in the when he was in making filmmaking, especially in the pre-production, so he and the director found many issues like like how to make and how to use a LED screen. And because in China, it's really rarely use the virtual production, this technology. So many things is hard to overcome, especially in Mandalorian. This one. So many problems they only how to say that? The only few problems they solved when the Mandalorian filmmakers when they make like the reflection, how to solve the reflection in their armors, characters' armor. So but in China they solved this problem, and also with the directors they 还有什么问题来着？刚才你说解决的？
技术问题。
Yeah, and many technology problems like LED screen like this. So finally, they solved all problems and make film like this. Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Overcoming millions of technology.
Yeah,
hurdles.
yeah.
That's a challenge, definitely. But that's exciting that you were able to solve all of those, because it really does look seamless. So good job. So Jenny, how about you? What were your challenges that you alluded to?
I mean, I think just generally filmmaking at this level where you don't have like an entire village sort of working in concert to create a world, you know, which I've been on film sets where you have, you know, like as mainly as an actor, but like you have the sound guy who's 100 feet away telling everybody to cross the street or be quiet or whatever. I was really struck when I started making just short films. In this film, sound was a complete shock to me in terms of like what it does to the quality of film. Like everybody thinks that film is visual, and it is, but if you have people talking and you have environmental noise, like sound is a real secret, to me, a real secret killer of films. Like if things are too hot to the ear, if they're too low. So for me, like that's been consistently something that I think is challenging if you don't have, if you're sort of doing micro budgets. So just like very practical sound was a real shock to me, because that's just not how I consciously watched films, you know, with like an eye to sound mixing. Like that's just not something I thought about. Yeah. I mean, I will say when I watched the film, I do wish the production, you know, I thought everybody's work was very good, but I was calling in favors. I paid the tech people, but you know, I'm a working class artist. I wasn't working with a generous budget. So, as you sort of, I think I will say this, as you want to make better and better films, it becomes trickier if you want the quality of the production also to improve, if you are working within the constraints of a budget. Because at some point, I will say I started to feel awkward. Asking for favors, you know, I think the age, like exposure being a kind of mechanism to get people to work on things, I kind of think that's over. Partly because of social media, and I think that's a good thing, but those dynamics are really shifting. So I'll just say that like just practically sound consistently on every like little film I've done is, I think, a real like silent challenge, funnily enough. And just the reality of what the ambition you have for the film versus like what your budget will allow.
But I do see that you you really listened to that budget, at least in your locations. You had one apartment and you had the office and of course the front stoop, but when I'm thinking about your locations, you really thought that through. And some people will have something grand, you know, and so in a way you were able to work within a smaller budget as a result of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we just like grabbed screen. We also did like grabs from the street, you know, like I had a whole scene set in the pharmacy where she overhears this woman like basically cursing on the phone. And she's like, and this old woman looks at her and she's like, people, you know. And of course the pharmacy was like, no, you can't shoot in here. Like, I just, we just like used an aisle, like it'll be fun. And you know what I mean? So it's like being creative with where you can grab stuff if you don't have, you know, permits and budgets. And so it's a little bit of moxie too, just like having a bit of chutzpah to do it regardless.
Yes.
Within the bounds of like reality.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you. How about you, Lionel? I'd love to hear.
So I guess it's about sort of like the same, you know, getting the funds to actually do it, and as Jennifer was saying, to keep the quality, you know, that you want for the film. So it took me about, since I wrote the first draft of the screenplay, it was about 6 years, I think. And so it was hard to actually get, and also to get the people, because the people who participated, they were very kind to actually not receive a lot of money, you know, as a, you know, to work in the film. They were more passionate about the story and the project itself. So that was basically my main struggle. It was to actually get the right people to participate, and also in the funds. But like, it was about 3 years. We filmed we actually had the shooting in 2019, I think, June 2019. And but when we actually had the people, that's when we were able to get also support from the post-production company, and also we had support from the equipment that we used in the shooting. So it's really key to work with the right people, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I like what you said about finding people who are really passionate about the idea and really willing to work to have that idea out there and that story told. So that's beautiful that you found your team.
Yes.
That's great. And Jairui, how about you? I'm sure you could speak to this film, challenges with producing this film, and then beyond. I'm sure you at producing 30 to 40 student films, I'm sure you saw everything that could happen. So I'd love to know your thoughts and suggestions on overcoming general challenges in productions as well. I think you're muted.
Oh, sorry. So for this film, the challenge for us is not budget, and it's the cast, because this is like a simple story. So in order to make this film looks great, we need to have like great casting and provide attractive performance. We cast the lead which is a father, but he dropped like 2 days before our production start. Yes, so I have to find a great cast to fit this character, and also to be able to come up with set like within 48 hours. But the lucky thing is I asked a favor for another great cast for another production. I helped for AFI, and he's a father, and he be able to compromise to come to our set and provide amazing performance. But that just gave our director a heart attack, because she is the first-time director, so she's saying this project won't happen anymore, and she's saying we should stop the production. But the thing is, when you're doing the film production, all kinds of situation, you don't know what kind of emergency you will face. The only thing you do is just trying to fix it and moving on. Yeah, so thanks our team, and we did this project. and that looks amazing. But for the other of my other productions, sometimes it's communication, sometimes it's budget, and or sometimes is time conflict, because this the student film, the budget is so tiny and we want to get a great crew that we can't, but some of crew they cannot compromise, so you will lose crew all the time and you need to have to find new crew to cover their position. So that's the hardest part. Yeah.
I'm sure you, over time of producing so many films, you were able to create a large list of people who could jump in at the last minute and kind of
yeah, like for this project, our crew like is from everywhere, every school in LA. My director is from Art Center, writer from Art Center, but our DP from Chapman, our production designer from USC, and I'm not even from film school, and my line producer from NIFA, so everyone from different school, but we collaborate on this project, just like all my other project did, because I'm not study inside each one of the single film school, so I know people that not only based on school, so it's based on the filmmaking, which I love, so I can meet all kinds of people and working with them and collaborate and keep going, growing up with them. That's the, like, I think the Swiss part that I've been through.
Absolutely, and that is another thing that I was interested in talking about, is collaboration and how you kind of build your team, who you want to work with long term, or you know, do you have those people who you want to give a call out to, who helped make this film happen, and also who you like continuing to work with. You don't have to say their names, but also speaking to what it is, what you look for in collaborators, and what you've learned about yourself as a collaborator, how you can be a better collaborator in these kinds of, sometimes with short films, high pressure situations, with getting everything done in budget and on time. So yeah, I'd love to hear more about what you have to say about that, and then also hear from everyone.
Okay, so I learned a lot for this year while I'm doing the TV movie with my director, which is my mentor and also my boss. And she's amazing director, and she was doing filmmaking for 25 years, and she won Emmy Award before. And she set up rules on set, which I love it, and I'm gonna continue follow the rules, which is no ego, no attitude, no asshole. So the filmmaking is it's all about passion and all about you working comfortable with the people you want to work. So sometimes even some people, they have like really high skilled, but they are lack of communication, or that's those kind of people. I think I prefer with some people that can listen to and knowing how to collaboration with others. Yeah. And for, especially for those students that, because you come here not just want to make money, because there's no chance for you to make money in the student film. So either you love this project or you love filmmaking. So that's the only reason you come here. And so we can keep like growing up together, because I keep learning for every single set I've been through, and I keep learning from others filmmaker, so then we can grow up together, and that's how teamwork. So like now I working with my line producer. She with me like we did like 7 projects already. So that's the thing that we build a friendship and also build a teamwork.
That's really lucky that you're building that with the director you're working with, and I completely agree about the ego and all of that, because it really does bog down a production. Even if somebody's very talented, the ego will distract from what matters for that film.
Yeah. Like the lots of director I work start with their first project, so they are like first time director. So but the cinematographer I hired, they think they want to do like amazing project, but they need to understand that director is a first-time director, so we can try to make this movie as best as we can, but we cannot approach that his goal. So either you help her out, we do like project that we're proud, or you should go with other project, or even go to studio set.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's about the film. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. So Lionel, tell me about your experience collaborating on this film and building your team.
Yeah, I had a great experience with my team. As I said, it was hard to actually find the right people for the project because, well, actually, like the cinematographer, it wasn't hard to find her because a friend told me about her, and so I saw her some of her demo reel, and I loved her the way she photographs. And so we work very together, the cinematographer and myself, and so we were able to really work together and actually come up with to work like before we actually did the shooting, like 2 or 3 years before we did that, we were working together, and so we had a very good time working together. And then it was a little bit hard to find another producers who would actually come to the project and not earn money. It was hard, but we found the right people, and so what I learned is to actually because I was a little bit shy at the beginning, you know, I like to share your very intimate story, and you know it's hard. Well, for me it was a little bit hard. So what I learned is that that's what people like in order for them to actually participate in your projects, they want to know about why you are writing the story, and you know, and that's how you can also approach people, you know, if they love the story and they also love why you are doing it, they would be very able to help you and to participate and to actually be very how do you say, very collaborative. Yeah.
Invested. Yeah, that's beautiful. And it's really nice to hear about how you, because the project took so long to get put together, how you were able to have slow collaborations. And then I think you can see that in the visuals. You can see that you worked very closely with the cinematographer and you were of the same mind when you went on set on the day. That's beautiful. Great. Hung Tao, I would love to hear about your collaboration on the film. I know it was sort of based somewhat in your film school, so I'd love to hear about how that worked as well.
要不我先说一下。
行。
其实，在我们的制作里，然后主要就是因为我们的导演刚好也是我们北京电影学院非常优秀的一青年导演，然后所以我们的团队都是这个导演专业，然后以往的毕业生。当我们想要用这个技术，然后来做这个科幻电影的时候，所有的大家都愿意投入到这个新的技术的应用，所以我们运用标准的一个流程化的一个制作，然后来对应使用这项技术。当然中间得到了硬件商，包括LED 屏商，还有一些大力的一些扶持，包括灯光，而且我们还得到了从动作方面得到了成龙 Michael 陈的这个成龙动作设计的支持，然后来完成这个项目。虽然过程非常的艰难，但是我们一个一个的解决了它。
Okay. So first of all, the director is very good. She's very good, and she is from Beijing Film Academy, and also the almost all film crew also come from Beijing Film Academy. So when we were making this film, and we found many problems. And but we're using the very professional process of the making film. So how to say that? So because we're using the very professional, professional process of making film, so many problems we can fix it one by one. Like we can get the equipment supporting from the from our friends, and also we can find the UE engine technology team. We find their guy to help to come to help us, and also we find someone to provide the LED screen, and also we're using the someone can help us to use a very professional light to help us to make. Yes. 还有吗？大概就是
来修正。
Also, we can connect to the Jackie Chan, yeah, Jackie Chan, and he help us to his friends like his friends to come to our team to design many moves, like how to fight and how to set the camera, and we can with his friends helping, and we can make this successfully. Yes.
Okay.
Unmute, sorry. Last but not least, Jenny, can you please speak to your collaboration and even though it was sometimes unpaid, the challenges, but also the benefits and the team you built up?
Yeah, so like I said, I'm an actor really first. And so that was really important to cast somebody that I knew and I loved. And I'm extremely loyal to actors. Like every short film I've made or initiated has had actors that I have a long history with. I'm very, very loyal to them. I write for them. I want to work, I really think that is the lifeblood of, just not only theater, but also film. And you're sort of, you sort of don't have a lot of power as an actor until you do have a lot of power. It's a very funny industry in that respect, the paupers and the princes kind of dynamic. So that was really, really important to me. And I continue to kind of collaborate with writers and actors kind of consistently. I have other projects that I'm sort of working on, and a lot of the same players pop up. So in terms of like the ego dynamic, that kind of just doesn't exist because it's friendships. Although I want to say something very quickly about, too much kumbaya on a project, because I think there's a weird, I call it the HRification of the arts going on. Conflict in service of a piece, I think, is good, because I've worked on pieces where everybody smiles and gets along, and nobody says, hey, this doesn't work, or I don't believe this is the way to go. And I think it weakens projects. So that doesn't mean like, don't look me in the eye when I come on set. It means like, that people should be full-throated in their opinions. And I think I strongly believe conflict is good for art. So I just want to say that, because I think that's a somewhat out of fashion opinion, but I've had experiences working on very pleasant, lovely, projects, and then the final result is, not always great. And I've definitely had projects that were far more acrimonious, and the actual result is like really killer. So it's interesting that way, that doesn't mean I condone abuse, but I'll say that I do think that conflict's part of art. And that wasn't my experience on this film, but this is in theater and in other projects. That's just a general opinion note observation I have. There's a sound guy that I consistently used. He and I became buddies, and he was very good. And once I used him for this film, I consistently, used him. And also as I produced projects that, could pay a little more, I wanted to reward the people who had started with me when I paid them in matchsticks, like I hope, I hope that if I do projects with more funding or I'm involved in things, I really want to reward those people who kind of started and believed in the storytelling and, threw their hat in. And I really pull a lot from people in my theater background, so for them, some of them have been on a lot of films as actors or whatever, but a good amount of the people are like really curious. So I think that inevitably you just have a kind of maybe easier demeanor than you would in a form that you know very well. The woman who worked with me on this film as a director is herself a writer. She's a playwright, and much more kind of produced and established than I am. And she also works as a director, and I'd worked with her as an actor, and she was a great dramaturg to this piece. She made me cut a lot because I was very, very wordy, which I think a first-time writer, you just, you're still figuring out how to use language. So yeah, I mean, it's just like trust the people that and work with people that delight you, and also people that you can disagree with. I really believe that, and that you're not afraid of kind of uncomfortable moments. And if you have tech people, like crew people that might work for kind of like less, depending on what your budget is, if you can pay people like SAG rates or industry standard, you should. Oh my God, you should feel proud of doing that. Like that is an honor to be able to pay people like what they're worth. But if you do have people who are willing to sort of do it for favors, they believe in what you're writing, they like you. I mean, hold on to those people, especially tech people. Like there's so many talented actors, especially in New York, many of whom are my friends. There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of acting talent, but like crew people, to me, like finding a great sound person, a great editor, a great DP, like if you can hone those relationships and bring them along with you, that is a big, that's a big like feather in your cap. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry.
No, thank you, Jenny. That's great. I think that will be useful to everyone watching this who is interested in making their own films and what they should focus on. So that's great. I do want to go ahead and get a question from the audience, from Glenn Kimball. And I also want to say we have 8 minutes left. I wanted to hear what each of you are working on next, even if it's just a sentence, like I'm working on this or I want to work on this. But in addition, I want you to answer Glenn's question. So I'm asking you 2 questions for each. We can go like 5 minutes over. It's okay. So for Glenn's question, finding your locations. What were the challenges? He speaks about Jenny having to maybe try to steal locations sometimes. So he's interested in how you overcame your location challenges. And I'm interested in knowing in 1 sentence what you're working on next, so we can have it out there for anyone who wants to work with you, hopefully on your next project. So go ahead, Lionel, why don't you speak to that?
Okay, so the first question is about the locations, right? Okay, so if we had a good time looking for locations, and it wasn't hard, because I actually had some visuals of what I was looking for, so it wasn't hard to actually. The locations manager was able to, and actually I wasn't able to pay so much, so I worked with what she already had, so it wasn't that hard. And what I'm working on right now, I'm working on another short film, which I hopefully will be shooting next year, and also working on my first feature screenplay.
Excellent, congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, Jaroi.
Oh, so about the location, sometimes I will have like a hard time to find locations because like small budget. So like one short film I had, we have a restaurant totally for free. So we went there, we went through like one street and asked for individual every restaurant to see they can do like sponsorship and those kind of things. Sometimes it's work, sometimes it won't. So it just take time. But if you don't have time, like you just need to do more research, or yeah, like if you do more and more production, you will know more and more location owners. So you will be like make a great deal with them because you're like shooting like oftenly. And for the project I'm working right now and for the future, now I'm working for Fox TV show as a production manager. And I have like about 3 to 5 TV movie lined up next year. And I also work on a pre-production for my company, which is a feature film with Outcome Production, which funded by Warner Brother, and some of the couple projects.
Excellent. That's very busy. Congratulations on that. Exciting. Great. Ginny will, or actually we'll go with Hong Tao and then we'll go back to you, Ginny, because you spoke the last one. Hong Tao, what are you working on next? And also, do you want to speak to any location challenges you've had?
这个问题是吧？
对
，OK，其实因为我们的制作它完全是 CGI 制作的，所以我们需要找到一个很好的一个制作团队、技术团队，然后帮我们设计整个的场景。但是我们的拍摄又是在 LED 屏上的拍摄，在中国其实这个地方并不好找，但是我们还是联系了我们的硬件商，然后最后我们安排所有的找到了一个合适的时间，然后在无锡，然后重新组装整个 LED 墙进行拍摄，所以整个过程是非常巧合，也是一种最好的一个实践吧。
然后还有第二个问题就是他们就是那个有没有打算继续在从事这个制片
？OK， 继续，
对，继续，
对。
Okay, so about the location problem, so because we have to shooting in the studio, and also in China, this is only really hard to find a studio can shoot with a virtual production. So finally, we find a good one. We find a good studio, and we can make it. And also in Wuxi, we can connect with hardware a guy, and we can collaborate together and install the LED wall. And finally, and we shooting with it, and finally we make it. Yes. And also Hong Tao Yang, he is a producer, and he's still working on the next project as a feature film. Yes.
Excellent. Very exciting. Are you using virtual filming for the feature as well?
就是你有没有在继续用这个技术在拍摄？
对，因为这个技术正在我制作的电影里，其实正在做，更多的运用在那个预览片更多一些。对
Okay. Yes, of course. And also about the virtual production, this stuff is for more about in the pre-production parts, and the filmmakers and with the praise filmmakers can see the real how to say that, the real screening, the real picture in the future, and see what it should like. Yes.
Cool. Very cool. Great. Okay, so we're going to close on Jenny, and Glenn's question was specifically inspired by your challenges with shooting in New York and trying to get locations. So I want to hear about that and on this film and others, and then what you're working on next as well.
Okay, I think I have a very good piece of advice. Be nice to people who own places. Like if you have a restaurant you love, like get to know the staff, get to know the manager, Like if you have a coffee shop, if there's a bodega, like be nice to people in a genuine way so that when you come calling and you ask them to use their locations for nothing or very little, that they will be inclined to like let you. That's something I just thought about in this moment. Friends who are generous with apartments, like, yeah, right to your budget, like put it in one location, or maybe even like constrain it to your block, because I think there's a way to be visually imaginative within like a pretty small sphere of space. Like I completely shot in my neighborhood, our film. I used a friend's apartment that was like a mile away. That's my local pharmacy. A guy I know whose theater company we used his office. You know, it's just like connections, be nice to people, be realistic, and be brave. Yeah, you know, sometimes be brave. What I'm working on a feature that explores the urban rural divide. That's something I'm really interested in. I think it's emerging as one of our most salient like divides, not just in the US, but globally. What is happening to people in cities and what's happening to people in the rural parts of countries, and why there's such conflict, and how globalization. I'm interested in what it's done to the US, you know, the US. And so to me, very interesting and unexplored. I'm working on a short too. I also have been working as an actor I've had a weirdly good summer, film wise. Like I did 2 days on a feature, and I'm about to shoot a horror film in Ithaca when I get back to the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast. Anyway, sorry, this really starting to feel like my resume.
No, that's great.
But yeah, I mean, I have 2 features that I started through UCLA. I'm an extremely, here's the truth, undisciplined and lazy writer. And I really need to rewrite them because there are things I feel are important. And, you know, I really do have something to say about the world. And you know, ideas are one thing, execution is something really completely different, which has also been a learning experience in the classes. You know, it's like, I joke that writing a script for the first time is like dating, and rewriting it is like a marriage. Sorry, that's very gendered, but that was the best analogy I could come up with.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a challenge to make yourself do it every day and get it out there. You have phenomenal ideas, but actually the grind is hard. And it sounds like you have distractions. It sounds like you're not just being lazy, but you're shooting films and acting in plays, and you know, so it sounds exciting and impressive, all of you. So I'm really excited to hear about your upcoming projects. Please, you know, as students, you can submit for 5 years after. So please submit your next films to our festival next year as well. We want to see them, and we're just really pleased that you can make it. Thank you to each of you for taking the time to sit down with us this morning and share your story. And I hope we see some of you today at the Fox Lot party if you can make it. That would be very fun. So as a reminder, I'll just say to everyone, we'll be holding a series of additional live panels today and tomorrow. We have one more today at 11:30 a.m. and then we have 3 tomorrow before the awards ceremony. So that should be a lot of fun, a lot of phenomenal insights. We also have our next filmmaker panel, as I said, is at 11:30 a.m. today. You'll have the opportunity to meet the filmmakers for the documentary From the Inside, and then the narratives Lines, Hello, The Wish, and A Matter of Time. So please make sure, if you have time in the next 25 minutes, to watch those films and join the panel. And our festival award ceremony, I just want to put it out there, will begin at 3:30 tomorrow on Sunday, followed by the virtual networking event. So those of you who are not in the US, please come to the virtual networking event at around 4 o'clock. That should be fun. And all of our filmmakers, please be there for the award ceremony. It should be a mini celebration of all of you, which you all deserve. And then, yeah, so you can RSVP for that. We'll put that in the chat. And if you haven't done so, please vote for our Audience Choice Award. All you do is you watch this series of films. If you just watch one, you can vote, but please watch all of them. They're all phenomenal this year. We're really thrilled to have each and every film. And if anyone is interested in classes, we'll throw that link to our classes and our scholarships in the chat as well. So thank you to everyone. It has been a pleasure to chat with you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.